I was folding laundry in my small, cluttered apartment when a knock on the door made me freeze. It was soft, deliberate, three sharp raps that echoed unnaturally in the quiet space. My pulse quickened. I wasn't expecting anyone. I glanced at the clock. 7:23 p.m., too early for a neighbor, too late for a delivery. I opened the door, and my world tilted. Standing there was a woman I hadn't seen in 20 years. My mom. My real mom. Her hair was longer, streaked with gray. Her eyes, though weary, were unmistakably hers. She was holding a stroller, and inside was a baby, swaddled and looking up at me with wide, curious eyes. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I wanted to slam the door, scream, cry. I wanted all of it at once. But something about the baby's innocent gaze held me frozen. And just like that, my quiet life was gone. She smiled nervously, fingers clutching the stroller. "Hi, Jonah," she said, and the sound of my own name from her lips made my chest tighten. It felt both familiar and foreign. What? What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice tighter than I intended. She hesitated, then swallowed. I I need your help. I don't know where else to go." She looked down at the baby, who cooed softly, as if sensing my hesitation. I studied her face, searching for any trace of the woman I had loved as a child. Fear, guilt, and exhaustion were all there. Part of me wanted to close the door and pretend she'd never appeared. But another, smaller, quieter part of me, the part of me that still remembered bedtime stories and lullabies, hesitated. Maybe this was my chance to understand, even if it hurt. We sat awkwardly on my worn-out couch. The baby rested against her chest, eyes half closed, breathing softly. I studied my mom, the lines on her face carved by 20 years I'd never seen. "Why now?" I asked finally, my voice trembling despite my attempt at control. "Why after 20 years?" She swallowed hard, a shiver running through her. I made mistakes, Jonah. Terrible ones. But I'm trying. I'm trying to fix them." Her words were heavy with guilt. I remembered nights I cried, wondering why she had abandoned me. I wanted to scream at her for leaving, for disappearing from my life. But then the baby gurgled, looking at me with wide, trusting eyes, and something inside me softened. I wasn't sure if I could forgive her, but maybe I could at least listen. Memories came uninvited, sharp and relentless. My 5th birthday, a cake she promised but never brought. The quiet nights spent wishing she would come home. The foster homes, the unfamiliar faces, the ache of being unwanted. I wanted to scream, to demand answers. "Do you know what it was like?" I asked, my voice breaking. She nodded solemnly, tears welling up. "I didn't leave because I wanted to hurt you. I left because I was terrified. I thought, if I ran, you'd be safe." I stared at her, torn between anger and a strange, reluctant empathy. And then the baby stirred in her arms, tiny fingers reaching for me. In that moment, I felt a spark, a fragile, complicated connection that bridged the 20-year gap. She told me about her life, the debts, the threats, the people she couldn't face. "I thought if I left, you'd be better off," she admitted. The words angered me, yet there was a raw honesty in them. She wasn't excusing herself. She was confessing. I looked at the baby again, her soft cheeks, her tiny hands curling around the blanket. She was innocent, a living reminder of the consequences of choices. Somehow, the baby made her story feel tangible. I wanted to reject her entirely, to shut the door and erase the past. But I couldn't. Something about the child's presence held me in place. demanding a response I wasn't sure I was ready to give. I told her bluntly she couldn't just walk back into my life. I have a life now, I said. I can't just pretend 20 years didn't happen. She nodded, tears streaking her face. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Jonah. I don't know what to do for her. She gestured to the baby. I need someone who can help me, even a little. I wanted to refuse, but when I looked down at the baby, I hesitated. Her tiny, trusting eyes held me in a way I hadn't expected. I swallowed my anger and agreed, but cautiously, setting strict boundaries. I wasn't ready to forgive, and I wasn't ready to trust. But I could help her, even if just a little. We agreed on rules. No expectations, no delving into the past, just caring for the baby a few hours a day. Her name was Lily. She smelled faintly of vanilla and baby lotion, a smell that reminded me of comfort I had never fully known. Holding her for the first time was surreal. My arms felt unpracticed, my hands unsure. But she didn't cry. She simply stared at me, wide-eyed, as if recognizing a part of herself in me. My mom watched from the couch, a mixture of relief and anxiety written all over her face. Thank you, she whispered. I didn't answer. I wasn't sure if I could. But inside me, a spark of something unfamiliar, hope, maybe, began to grow. The first few days were chaotic. Lily cried constantly, my mom hovered anxiously, and I navigated emotions I thought I had long buried. Each scream of the baby echoed memories of my own childhood fears and loneliness. Yet slowly, routines formed. I learned to feed her, soothe her cries, and even hum lullabies. My mom began to relax, letting me take small responsibilities. We didn't speak much of the past. It wasn't necessary. In those small moments, rocking the baby, changing diapers, watching her sleep, an unspoken bond formed. A fragile, tentative bridge connecting years of absence to the present. One night, I woke to the sound of Lily giggling in her crib. I found my mom sitting beside it, eyes full of wonder and fear. I was so scared, she whispered. I didn't know if I could do this right. I sat beside her, my anger softened by her vulnerability. You're trying, I said, and for the first time in decades, the sharp edge of resentment dulled. It didn't vanish completely, but it softened. Watching her care for Lily, the tenderness in her eyes, the anxiety, the love, I realized that maybe the capacity for love hadn't left her entirely. And maybe neither had mine. Then came the first real fight. Old resentment exploded. I accused her of abandoning me. She begged me to understand. I didn't have a choice, she said, voice shaking. I felt tears sting my eyes. The baby, startled, whimpered. Holding her close, I realized anger and fear were still alive, but so was compassion. We weren't ready to forgive fully. Maybe we never would be. But for Lily's sake, and even for our own, we had to continue. Some wounds never fully heal. They just learn to coexist with moments of care, trust, and love. Weeks passed, and the fragile routines became rhythm. Lily's laughter echoed through my apartment, small and joyous, like sunlight slipping through a window. My mom started to relax too, allowing me to take the lead during feedings and bedtime. It was messy, chaotic, yet somehow beautiful. One afternoon, as I changed Lily's diaper, she grinned at me, sticky hands reaching out. My mom, sitting nearby, watched quietly, her face softening. I realized something profound. The woman who once terrified me could now be a source of comfort, not just fear. We weren't a perfect family. We weren't even fully a family yet. But in these small moments, shared responsibilities, shared laughter, A new kind of connection was forming. One Saturday, my mom suggested we take Lily to the park. My instinct was to resist. The outside world felt chaotic and unpredictable. But when we arrived, Lily's tiny feet kicked at the grass, and her laughter rang pure and infectious. Watching her explore, my chest tightened, not with jealousy, not with pain, but with a strange, unfamiliar joy. My mom smiled genuinely, and I caught a glimpse of the woman I had loved as a child, before life had hardened her. We sat together on a bench, quiet, soaking in the warmth of the sun. "She's lucky," my mom whispered. I realized she wasn't talking about Lily alone. She meant both of us, me and Lily. Lucky to still have each other, despite the fractured past. Lily reminded me of my own lost childhood. Her curiosity, her small, fearless experiments with the world, they were echoes of a self I had long buried. Feeding her, soothing her, watching her sleep, I remembered bedtime stories, afternoon walks, small moments that should have been mine. Her tiny hands reaching for mine, trusting and innocent, ignited a strange sense of redemption. I wasn't just helping my mom, I was reclaiming parts of my own life. The past still hurt, but now it had a context, a bridge to the present. Maybe through caring for Lily, I could heal too. Then came the day that shattered our fragile balance. Lily, curious and fast, darted toward the street. My heart stopped as I lunged, catching her just in time. My hands trembled, adrenaline screaming through me. My mom ran over, tears streaming, hugging us both. "I don't deserve you," she whispered, her voice shaking. And in that moment, I realized she might be right. She didn't deserve us, but maybe life wasn't about deserving. Maybe love wasn't a reward for perfection. Maybe love was showing up when it mattered most, no matter the past. After the crisis, we sat together, exhausted and trembling. My mom opened up fully for the first time, sharing regrets and fears without defense. I listened, feeling sorrow and empathy in equal measure. She wasn't the villain in my story anymore, not entirely. She was human, terrified, flawed, but still trying. For the first time, I felt the sharp edges of anger dull. I didn't forgive her fully yet, but I acknowledged her. She existed, she mattered, and she had returned. That acknowledgement alone felt like a small, meaningful victory, a step toward something I hadn't thought possible. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Lily thrived. Her laughter became a constant in our apartment, her curiosity endless. My mom started working again, slowly regaining her confidence and stability. The small miracles, the first time Lily called me Dada, the first time she walked unaided, the first smile my mom offered without hesitation, added up. Life was far from perfect, but in the midst of imperfection, we found moments of grace. I began to see the possibility of a family, not one free from pain, but one built on presence, care, and consistent love. Trust didn't return overnight. I tested her, watching for signs of the past creeping back. She faltered sometimes, forgotten responsibilities, moments of panic, but she always returned, always showed up. And slowly I began to understand. People change in increments, not leaps. Her willingness to try again mattered more than the mistakes of the past. Watching her gently soothe Lily, clean up messes she had created, I felt a cautious hope blossom. Trust was fragile, yes, but it was being rebuilt, brick by brick. One evening, my mom shared something that shook me. "I came back because I saw her," "Lily, and I saw you," she said softly. "I realized I wanted to be part of both your lives. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want a chance to be here." Her words lingered, weighty with honesty. I looked at Lily, sleeping between us, her small chest rising and falling peacefully. And then I looked at my mom. For the first time, I realized that life is messy, imperfect, unpredictable. But love, even flawed, can create something unexpectedly beautiful. I reached out, taking my mom's hand in mine. "We'll figure it out," I said. No promises, no illusions of erased pain, just presence, commitment, and willingness to try. Lily stirred in her sleep, smiling faintly. The apartment, once a quiet sanctuary, now felt alive. Alive with care, responsibility, and cautious joy. The past lingered, yes, but it no longer dictated our present. And for the first time, I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, our fractured little family could survive. Years later, we laugh about the early chaos, the fear, the anger, the uncertainty. My mom is still imperfect. I still carry old wounds. But together, we raise Lily with love, patience, and honesty. She watches us, learning the true meaning of family, showing up even after mistakes, never giving up, and embracing the imperfect beauty of connection. Life didn't give us a perfect beginning, but it gave us a second chance. And sometimes, the most broken beginnings lead to the most unexpected, most beautiful endings.